All right, guys, so let's go with this challenging message. I'm going to deliver it to you as best I can, as directly as possible, because this is a challenge here. Karmic justice. I believe that I've got a man, a gentleman, who has made a devastating mistake in his choice of partner. I believe that this man has chosen a partner who married him for money, for opportunity. And I've already shuffled the cards. I just do it my way to not hurt my hands because I abused them quite a lot at my last job. And I'm paying for it now, but we'll take care of it. We will have some surgical intervention. But I've already shuffled them. I don't dare look at them or under them or anything until we get through this part of the message that I will explain. So we've got a man who has married, I believe this is a legal marriage, especially considering that Torah is giving me Tower, and Tower gives me a kind of imprisonment, which I'm not saying that marriages are prisons for those who choose that, but the Tower would lead me to believe that this is a marriage that is like a prison. And I don't know why this man feels or felt for the longest time, because this could be going on a couple of years, it could be more, but it feels like it's a few years, or it could be that for a couple of years he's known that this was bad or that it was bad from the beginning. I don't know why anyone would jump into a situation with this kind of feeling that this person should have had. Intuition, a gut feeling, unless this is an individual that doesn't listen to his gut. And it's very difficult for me to speak this message because I'm almost terrified. I'm almost terrified to look at these cards. And I'm not laughing. This is nervous laughter because I'm very uncomfortable. I was feeling this all day long, and it was just, all solar plexus, very heavy in the heart chakra. But I hope that anyone who hears this message understands you need to listen to your instincts. Your instinct will never lead you astray. Now, we have to be able to discern what is intuition versus fear. Now, our intuition can indicate that there's something that we really need to think about, not just jump into the fear-based mentality. But I think that this is a situation where most of us would have felt like, oh yeah, this is not good right off the bat. Something's not right. I don't mean to say that this individual chose to just jump in. This could be an individual that's just very stubborn. I'm really getting a stubborn energy. I'm getting the energy of a man who, it's do as I say, not as I do. Everything's gotta, we gotta tick off the boxes. Tick off the boxes, and everybody better conform. I'm getting a very reversed emperor energy. Just very difficult, but let's just go. Let's just do this. So let's just look and see. Let's look at the bottom. I don't know why I want to look at the bottom first, but let's just look. So we've got the Magician. I chose this deck. I've told friends of mine before, this deck it's a bit difficult because it tends to be very straightforward and it does not pull punches, at least for me, in the way that I read, which is very intuitively. But when I see the Magician, I'm always a little hesitant. Because yes, it can really talk about having the tools and the skills and the ability to manifest everything and anything. But it can also indicate, in my experience, a manipulative person who will say and do and portray and wear a mask, whatever it takes to do this. In this case, maybe to get this woman in this situation. And maybe this was a very physical, 3D kind of relationship. Okay, the magician could also be referring to this woman and somebody who was as manipulative as this man. Now, the karmic justice card is really giving me that this was karma for this individual. And we shall see, okay? I really don't know how if I should just go with a Celtic type cross, but we're going to do it. So we've got the Prince of Pentacles. I think that I'm getting the energy of a man who, regardless of his age, is not as mature as he could or should have been. I also get the idea that this is an individual that has, been a lot of places, seen a lot of things, traveled, acquired. But let's note that we don't even have a king here yet. But now we've got the Two of Wands, so we've got somebody who needs to make a decision or is challenged by the decision that he needs to make. This person could have black hair. This person could have a mustache. Take the symbolism, the images as you will. All right, because the way that I read is like lots of the fantastic readers here on YouTube and other platforms. Most of us are intuitive and we just go with it. Oh, Lord, right off the bat. Okay, so we've got the Devil. So the foundation is that this was a very lustful relationship. This was a relationship that was built on a foundation of the physical, on, just appearances and, though, for instant gratification. I told you that this is a difficult deck to use. As you can see here, that this is like a Jezebel spirit. We've got a third person in this imagery who's kind of down there. I don't know what that means, but there are obviously too many people. Now, this could indicate that maybe the karma for this gentleman that I'm picking up on is that the Jezebel that he is with, because I'm really getting that there's another party in this where he figured out she was never faithful. And, people can arrange their relationships and structure them the way they will. Most people don't jump into committed relationships with the idea that they're going to insert, no pun intended, third parties or multiple parties, unless this is what they chose. And who knows, maybe this guy knew that this was a cheating heart and he didn't care. Now we've got Temperance here in the fading influence. So perhaps this person thought that, and again, note the images here. Maybe this person thought that they could just make this work. They could blend a family. They could make it all work together. Let me look at this again, because this is, the character on the Temperance card really is looking away. I really get the feeling that this woman always had this other guy on the side. This is a marriage of convenience. This is a marriage for money. This is so dumb. And for the crowning influence, we have the High Priestess in reverse. Not good. High Priestess in reverse. That's not good. That is a person who could be, this is beyond Kitchen Witch and somebody, flipping around some ingredients to pretend that they're doing magic or something. This is look at her face. That's not good. So I think that this gentleman knows what he's been dealing with. Near future, we've got the Hanged Man in reverse. So I think that this man is taking action now, and that's where I'm getting that Tower energy from. And he realizes I can't just, or don't want to just sit here hanging around and letting it all happen. I believe that this woman has spent all his money or a great deal of it. There also could be a child involved. It can be an adult child. I'm thinking that money was going over here to Sancho, if that's not the immature king. Current environment, we've got the Nine of Cups, and that is, of course, very close to this devil energy for me. I believe that this was kind of like the Nine of Cups. It's a wish, but it's like head in the clouds. It hasn't really been made manifest, in my opinion, because it tends to be a situation where a person is preparing for the wish to come true. But remember, it's the wish fulfillment card. But in the traditional tarot imagery, this person is waiting for what could even be a satiating feast to be delivered to him, because it's not the 10 of Cups, it's the 9. So that is what the current environment is in this situation. Lord have mercy. We've got the 9 of Swords here. Look at that big old snake. So with the 9 of Swords, we've got a person who's not sleeping. They're not feeling well. In this particular tarot deck, this individual's got it coming at him from all sides. He may feel under attack right now from everybody in every way. It's just all coming at him. And this is, of course, in the surrounding environment to the 9 of Cups. And here we've got Jezebel again. For this reading, I'm going to call her Jezebel. Everybody can see this. This is, in public. Everyone is aware of this. My nail polish doesn't want to let me pick that up. But he's like, I don't know what to do. I've got a snake. Look at the destruction. I believe that there's real estate that's going to need to be sold. I think this woman's going to want a lot of money in return. This could turn into, with that 9 of Swords, this could turn into a protracted legal battle, because if we look at this, that, I don't know if I'm getting Parthenon energy from that, but like this is a mess. Now for the hopes and fears position, we've got the 8 of Pentacles. So I think that this man is thinking about a woman that he walked away from. I don't get the feeling that she walked away from him. I think that this man chose a Jezebel, or somehow, think traditional imagery if you know it in tarot. I believe that this man is lamenting having walked away because she's right above him. I believe that he really laments having walked away from, or somehow letting a sweetheart slip through his fingers. This is a very sweet face, very nice lady. She's a little rosebud, and if you think about this, right above here, I think that is maybe who he's wishing and hoping for. This could be also the fear that he has lost this person forever, which is probably the case, because, you don't just lose a sweetheart easily, all right? You usually take some action to have lost her yourself. We've got the Wheel of Fortune as the outcome. This is a very interesting image here to me, because we see the Zodiac and its astrological references on it. We see the Tree of Life, the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune energy is a change in fortunes, and it can indicate levels of karma. I like to pull a summary card. We've got the 6 of Cups. We most definitely have a man who is pining for a woman from the past. And if you'll notice in this art, he's kissing her, or wishing and dreaming about the past. But note that she is not looking at him. She's looking away. This woman is not aware that he is still in love with her. I think that the Jezebel is aware that somehow she was able to trap him, because if this Prince of Pentacles represents the immature, what should be at least a king, in my feeling, because I believe that this is an older person. And when I say older, remember, use your intuition. Don't get too caught up on the details as much as the message, okay? This woman has no clue that he is pining for her. I want to take a moment, since we're doing a longer video here, to clarify with an oracle a couple of things for me, and we will pull from another deck here just to get a message that I almost don't want to look at this. I almost don't want to look at, but maybe I'll feel better now that I get this. It's made me feel uncomfortable all day. I first want to clarify, who is the person he's pining for? Let me show you the art a little better. It's a little more intimate this way. Sorrow. This man is grieving heavily over somebody that he has lost. Someone from his past. Someone who either doesn't know that he's pining for her or doesn't care. I believe that she has set her sights on at least not thinking about him anymore. I want to clarify, the devil here is the foundation. Lord, all right. Okay. Conversation. Too many people were involved here. I think that this man was just, and I don't mean to be offensive in any way, and I don't mean to even YouTube capitalize on anybody's sorrow, but I think that this man was listening to too many people's opinions, and obviously a mind that is weak enough to be swayed by what other people might say would never have been strong enough to, secure a sweetheart in the Eight of Pentacles. You know what? I think I was referring to the energy of this card as the Eight of Cups in my mind. Eight of Pentacles would have been somebody that he could work with. Now, here this could mean that this man did not put in the work with the person from his past. Maybe he was just wimpy and didn't know how to have a real relationship. Relationships are not perfect, people. Relationships are with human beings. They are not human perfections. There is no perfection. People are perfect in their imperfection. That's why we gravitate toward each other. That's why we fall in love with the uniqueness and the differences in another person, not in what we think is perfect. That could be some cultural stuff going on right there. But maybe if we look at the Eight of Pentacles as a hope, I'm still drawn to that freaking Six of Cups, but maybe he hopes that he can work again to stabilize himself, because this is not giving me Jezebel spirit, or that he fears that he cannot work on this relationship with the Jezebel anymore. But I sure am getting that Six of Cups over there. Let's clarify this wench over here, because I don't like her. Oof, melancholy. And again, we've got the woman with the black hair. It's not, of course, same person here, but I'm going to say that this woman that he's involved with has brought him a great deal of sorrow. Where do we want to clarify? Oof. Definitely, let's clarify the Hanged Man in reverse. He is married. He is married. He is married. Let's clarify one more time to see about what action he will take in the immediate future, because this is the immediate future. Lover. If I set this card down here, let it focus. This menstrual type is looking right up there. The Jezebel has had at least this person, but I believe she's had him the whole time, and that this feels like a setup. Yeah. Let me make sure I can focus on this. Falseness. This woman, to summarize it so far, the man has gotten himself very likely married to or in a significant contractual agreement. I even think with this Eight of Pentacles that this man made a significant investment either in a business for Jezzy over here at Jezebel, or he invested a lot of money into this. Very, very foolish, because I'm not saying you don't do things like this with people you love, but you do things like this when you're grounded in reality, not head up in the clouds, don't know what you're doing, flying by the seat of your pants, or whatever you call this. Trust is something that is earned, right? I am a person that has given trust many times and been burned, you know what I mean? By work relationships, friendships, you name it. I'm a very open person. I've had to learn to let other people earn my trust. So I'll give trust, at the onset, like anyone would, being vulnerable, but incrementally, okay? You let a person teach you who they are over time. Over time. Doesn't mean we judge people for their pasts. That's gone. You work with people the way that you meet them, and as they reveal themselves to you over time, over long periods of time. I can't just meet a person, have one experience them with them and say, "Oh yes, love of my life, it's all great," right? No. Doesn't work that way. Although, like I said, we're all prone to folly at some time. I'm going to clarify the Six of Cups just for my own. Okay, so we've got moon phases here with the moon. This man could be focusing on a water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. That is the past. There could be something about the moon phases here. Now, the moon is, of course, representing what is hidden and what is coming to light or must come to light. So, I'm sorry for the heavy reading. I would like to scatter these cards and just help this poor man find his path. But I'm not the participant, I'm the observer. This message may or may not resonate with the general population, but it is what it is. It's a message for the person that finds it. And if it isn't specific to you, then it is just a story, or in this case, it's a bad freaking dream. Let's see, what can we summarize this reading with a kind of oracle card? Life purpose. I think that this gentleman needs to find his life purpose. So I'm going to hold this up a little bit closer to my face to read it. The purpose of your life is to serve in a way that brings great joy to yourself and others. Don't worry about finding your purpose. Instead, focus upon serving a purpose, and then your purpose will serve you. I think that this gentleman is feeling lost at this time. I hope that he can find his purpose. This could be a much older person. He doesn't have to necessarily have old white, hair. There's lots of people that have no hair and they have white hair. He doesn't have to necessarily be a kind of Asian monk sitting here writing, but maybe this person, as he grows older, will find a life purpose that is focused on a higher spiritual meaning. If you look at these cards together, sorry about the mess here, but look at the mess. Look at all these people. What is this? I'm so sad for him. This man needs to stop focusing on all the earthly pleasures and see how the devil is pointing at himself, and he's huge. And we've got, of course, that foreboding inverted pentagram there, and we got wine, women, and song. I mean, look at him. This devil has even got the gentleman He's looking away. There's too many people here. This chick's like really, there's so many people here. I feel like I'm looking at something I shouldn't look at. But hopefully this man will find a way to focus instead on a purpose that is more divine, a purpose that is more spiritual. That doesn't mean that you can't have all the good things in life. Life is great. Life is good. The physical is good in a safe and loving and respectful relationship, in a safe relationship. And geez, not a relationship like if you hope for the best outcome, I don't suggest that you have all kinds of people up in it. Okay. You often see things like this with deeply insecure people that feel like they have to have, all kinds of men and women hanging on them to feel better about themselves. It really is a lesson in finding yourself within yourself, within yourself. When you become a whole and healthy person by making peace and accepting and integrating your shadow so that you can understand it and transmute it into your light, then you're whole and you're happy and you're healthy. You won't find yourself being jealous and possessive of the next person. You won't feel so deeply insecure, that you've got to find out where your man or woman is 500 times a day. You'll find yourself more inclined to say, hey, sweetheart, I'm reaching out to tell you I'm thinking of you and I love you. Not questioning like, what'd you do? Where'd you go? Who'd you have lunch with? Did you touch anybody? That's a very uncomfortable way to live, isn't it? I don't want to focus on that card. Let's focus here. I suggest for anybody who resonates with any parts of this, even if you've just found this to be a fantastic tale of, I don't know, the demonic here. I'm really getting that there could be some, I'm not going to say cult in the literal sense, but I'm really strongly getting some kind of weird kitchen witch and somebody's got a voodoo doll. The rest of it, you were at 27 minutes. I the rest of it and all of its strangeness, anything else that comes up, I believe we'll leave for another day. But I'd like to focus on this card again, and maybe together we could send some gentle, supportive, healing energy to this gentleman who hopefully before he's very old finds a way and a purpose in life that even if he finds himself, and it could be very likely this person could end up being very purposeful, remaining single and focusing on a divine purpose and you know being single and celibate is not a terrible thing. Maybe this person's destiny was always to grow much older and wiser, but in a more, I was going to say alone, but in a more reflective state. Karmic justice. And I'd like to close by saying you don't have to jump into every relationship. You don't have to overcommit in relationships. It's okay to be single and celibate. Hi. Some of us are the celibate monks. I like to say if anybody thinks it's weird that I'm not in a relationship, it's because I haven't found anybody good enough to be in a relationship. Word to the wise. Make good choices. I love you all.